Hi there. Happy Thursday of week 7, unbelievably enough. I apologize for all the insanity with the technical stuff last week. I never did figure out what went wrong. It seems to be working again. But that just means I'm gonna have to back up a little bit and really explain what these feature articles look like, how they work, and what you're going to be doing. The proposals are looking terrific. Among other things that didn't get done, I didn't leave very many comments on very many of the proposals, but they're looking good. And people are already getting their annotations up, which is terrific. So you guys are doing a great job in spite of all my technical issues. And so I appreciate your patience. So this week, I'm gonna just show you more about how to put these articles together, show you some examples, show you Canva, something that I use. That you don't have to, but is kind of cool, kind of a nice thing to make it look like a feature article. So with that said, let me share the screen and we'll get rolling on this, okay? So this chipmunk with a nut, which is going to explain stuff in a second. So what a feature article, those of us who started in journalism, one of the things we were taught is, how to structure these things. And they look a little different, as you know already from looking at the features on Perusall. So this is really some examples of how it works and why it works that way. So this is an overall structural guide. They have it's very Aristotelian for those of you who know Aristotle, with beginning, middle, and end. The beginning starts with a really interesting, engaging opening. Like a lot of you put in your proposals, that first paragraph part of that could become the engaging opening, okay? Sometimes people use quotes from experts. Sometimes the nut graph, which I'll explain in a second, is the beginning. But the beginning is meant to hook the reader. And like I said, your first paragraph in your proposal could function that way, or at least part of it could. Then when you get to the nut graph, which explains what the article is about, what we're looking for, why it's important, more about that in a second. And then when you get into the middle, as much story and research and images as you want to use. It can be as long or as short as you want. These, I think, are 1,000, 1,200 words. I have never had trouble with people getting to that length. Mostly people ask me if they can go longer. The answer is yes, just don't write a doctoral dissertation. So as much information, quotes, links, link in your article out to other articles so you don't have to put a bibliography at the end. That's one nice thing about doing a feature, is they link like crazy to other places, as you saw from the Vox articles, right? And then the ending, the classic ending on a feature article returns to the original idea from the beginning, from the opening paragraph, back to the person, back to the image, finishes up the story if it's telling a story. That's sort of the classic way to end a feature. It could also end with advice and tips if you're doing a really informational piece. Could have a final comment or a quote of some kind. Could be a call to action. Could be challenging people if it's more of an opinion piece kind of feature. So that's the basic structure of this thing, and you're going to be using this in a few minutes, or not a few minutes. We're going to be using this week to go back and look at the Vox articles. So what the heck is a nut graph? Well, a nut graph is also called a nutshell paragraph, and it sort of tells us in a nutshell, in a little package of one paragraph, what's important about the story, why we should care, why it's important now, basically what we're gonna be looking at. If you think about things like theme or thesis, it could give us that. But really, it just essentially tells us what's coming next, right? So you got this cool opening that may actually make the reader go, what? I want to know more. And then the nut graph shows up and says, this is what we're going to be doing. This is why you care. This is why it's timely. And it works as a transition from that cool hook to the research and information in the article itself. Okay, so it could have some other stuff in it too, but that's what a nut graph is. It's pretty short. Let me show you how this works. Now, this is a link to an article from the Times that talks about how to structure a feature article. So I'm going to jump over here. And what this article is saying is that essentially what I've just said. It's got three elements: an opening, some quotes, an expert, and then, why it matters. So this is a piece about, just to show you an example, this is a piece about coronavirus this is from 2020, early in 2020, before COVID, before the pandemic hit. And this is how she starts this article. After suffering from a fever and breathing problems for more than 15 days, this 51-year-old resident, I will butcher the name, so I'm not gonna say it. 51-year-old resident of Wuhan, China, finally sought help at a hospital. Despite the symptoms, he was not tested for the new coronavirus. And here's a link to an article about it. A lab suggesting that there may be far more cases of the virus than are being officially reported. Instead, Mr. Zhao told he had a viral chest infection, so he went back home. As he grew sicker, he went to 3 other hospitals, but they told him they did not have enough beds. So this is sort of your opening, and it takes up more than one paragraph. And then it goes on, like many of the thousands of Chinese patients who are concerned about the new coronavirus, Mr. Zhao is scrambling to get help from the healthcare system, straining to serve even the basic needs of patients. So this tells us, we're going to be talking about the healthcare system, Chinese patients, the new coronavirus, and what's being done. And then it jumps into this pretty cool map tracking the coronavirus. It's really, there's a little bit more of story about this Mr. Zhao. And then an even bigger nut graph as it struggles to combat a coronavirus outbreak. Chinese government's relying on an out-of-date system, right? So this is how the beginning is set up. There's a story, there's a paragraph or information that says what we're about to read about and why it matters. And then it goes down, there's lots of, there's just some interesting pictures, some charts and graphs, some quotes from experts, and we get down to the end. There's never been a good antiviral agent. The problem with finding a drug that can effectively fight an infectious disease is that it needs to be tested in sufficient numbers in a randomized way in proper clinical trials. And at the very last paragraph, in Wuhan, Mr. Zhao's daughter said her father had been diagnosed with severe pneumonia and was now labeled a highly suspicious case. He's relying on ordinary fever medicines and anti-inflammatory drugs. There is no special medicine for coronavirus so far, so we can only rely on the patient's own immunity. So this one circles back to the beginning story about this particular patient. So that's sort of a classic way to put together a feature like this. And the Vox articles are often written like this. This is also a really interesting article to read in light of everything that's happened in the last 4 years. So, and the rest of this article from the Times talks more about how that kind of article is put together. There's some examples. Explains the nut graph. Explains what the writer is doing, and I like this quote a lot. It backs up to provide context for the scene in the lead, like a filmmaker drawing back from a close-up to a wide-angle shot. Okay, it provides the background by addressing how and why. And so it gives us the context for the story or for the information that we've been given. All right, so there's more in this article. You can read through it. I didn't put it on perusal because Times does its own thing, right? And I couldn't get the links to transfer over. So here's some more articles that you can look at. So lots of good examples in this particular Times article. Okay, so that's sort of how these things function. We got the engaging opening, we've got the nut graph, and then we've got all this research, and we have a nice conclusion that wraps it all up. Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. So what is due this week, what you're doing this week, and like I said, you guys have already been doing some really good research and the proposals look terrific. To go back, now that you've got this structure thing, go back and look at that Vox article that you already analyzed and analyze it according to that structure guide. And here are the questions that you're going to be asking yourself about that article. Write all these answers up, and then go to the Google Drive and the Find Your Beat folder, and then the Vox analysis folder, and drop that doc in there. Or, the easy way is just to go to the drive. Go to the drive and go to here and here, and then just do like you did before. Okay, so you're doing a structure. This is a structure analysis. Okay, so this is the place to put it. The back up. There we go. Okay, so put it in there. It'll give you a chance to really kind of look. And what gets confusing sometimes is what is the nut graph and where it is. So if you will, if you'll put the link to the Vox article in this, I'll go take a look at it too, especially if you've got questions about where the nut graph is and how it's set up. Right? So that's due for Sunday night. It's just to go back and look at the structure and analyze your Vox piece and see how it's put together. Then for next week, write a draft of a hook and a nut graph for your article. Now, this is just a draft. It's a pretend. It's not the last thing you'll write, probably. It may very well change as you get into the writing. That's one of the joys and horrors of writing, is that you think you've got everything all nailed down and you start writing and things change because something will pop into your little brain. Your right brain is working over here while your left brain is trying to write. And the right brain comes up with a great idea. And your left brain goes, go away, I know what I'm doing. And your right brain says, no, this is important. So then you have to go back. Go, okay, yeah, fine. Okay, right brain, I got it. So then you go back and you got to fix the beginning part of it. And that's just the way it goes. That's what happens. So your hook and your nut graph may very likely change. They'll get tweaked and made better as you go through the whole draft. So just write the draft of the hook and the nut graph and put it in the folder that you're making, that you've already made for yourself. So drop it in there. Now, this is one of the reasons I had you create the folders with your names on them, because there's several pieces that are going in there. The annotations, this, if you want to put this analysis in there, this Vox analysis in there, that's fine with me. This is, just try not to overload that folder too much, but you can do whatever you want to with it. So that's all that is. It's just looking at the structure, writing a draft of a hook and a nut graph for your own article. And then next week we'll get into more about formatting, but I wanted to jump in and do it a little bit now because there are already people working a little bit ahead. So I use Canva to make articles look like feature articles. Now you don't have to. The Vox formatting is pretty straightforward, like I said. So if you want to do it in a Word doc and just drop the pictures in between things, that's fine. I don't care. But if you want to play around with Canva, or if you're a design person and you want to see, what you can do, Canva, Adobe's got a platform that's pretty much like that. These are some, I'm just going to show you these and I'll go over and show you Canva. These are some from previous students. This one is just set up like an article, right? We didn't used to make students write just for Vox. And you still don't have to. If you want to make it look like an article like this, you can. And I'll show you the link to do it. And I'll probably put the link, go back and put the link here on the announcements page. But this person just set it up like that, right? It looks like a feature article. Links out to other things, which I can't get to now because it's a PDF. So that's one of them. Go back. This one was one of my students, actually. Meal prep for busy moms. That was her feature article. Okay, so this was kind of fun. It's very straightforward. Got some great images and some how-tos and all this kind of stuff. Some links out to showing you different kinds of things to store food meals, and then some more YouTube channels for recipes. It was really comprehensive, really good idea. And she could have done this in Word, but she chose to put it in Canva code, so it looks really nice. And then there's one more. This one, again, looks pretty straightforward, also in Canva. Is there a better method of reading? So she used Canva because she had charts and graphs that she wanted to drop in there. It was easier to add them to Canva than to drop in a Google Doc. Some great pictures, and she put the links to the pictures, where they came from. Another really nice article that she did in Canva. So those are some of the things that previous students have done with this thing. Now, let me show you Canva really quickly. Canva is free to use. You just sign up. It does have some costs if you choose to do it that way, but you can avoid it if you want to. And the thing that you want to look for with these is feature article template. Okay. Hello, templates. And it will give you different setups. Now, this is, some of these are going to look real familiar. Right? And all you have to do, if you want to use one of these things, is, let me pick this. This one's easy. Customize the template. And you just get in here and it's a drag and drop. So you drag that picture out. You can write your copy. You can write your stuff someplace else and then upload it, you know, just drop it in here. You can find all kinds of stuff in here. You can change the text, you can get rid of things, you know, just whoop, gone. Come back. That's Control Z. You can also find different pictures. Like if I want to use this picture, you know, you get rid of everything else, you just drop the picture in. Get rid of it. Go on. Now, if you want to use a picture of a book, example, okay? Lots of books. Now, what you want to avoid, the things you don't want are the things with the little crown on them that says Pro. Those will cost you $1. So you're going to look for, let's say, photos, okay? So anything that doesn't have a crown is free, which is really nice. You don't have to go out and hunt for images. You can also upload your own images, just using uploads. You can see the things that I put in here is my late cat and my family and my dog and a turtle. So I've uploaded quite a lot. So it's really fun. So you can look for all kinds of elements. You can look for, what I said, books. You can do graphics. So you got images. Some of them do this. There's a bookworm, but that would cost. This one doesn't. This is free. You can do photos. Right? All the books for free. You can do, they also have videos that you can upload. 8 seconds of pages flapping. Okay, drop it in there. Go. Okay. All right. So Canva is really easy to use, and when you make something, then you just do share and then download. And the best download is a PNG. You can also do a JPEG, which is also good. So either one of these two is fine. If you want a PDF, you can, but most of the time it's easier just to, it doesn't matter, JPEG or PNG. You may want to do a PDF actually for uploading into the drive, but it doesn't matter. Okay. And so that's all you do. You download and then it's all free as long as you haven't, and it will warn you if you picked a picture, pick something that's got a cost associated with it. So you can go, oops, that was wrong, and go back and change it. Right. So Canva is really incredibly user friendly. And like I said, you just go to feature article, put this on the and just pick one that you like and play around with it. And you can do, there's all kinds of things on here. I use it for a lot of my students for their unit 3 will come in here and do like Instagram for pictures or for carousels, you know, so you can make Instagrams, you can do all kinds of stuff. So let me go and show you. So there's lots of whiteboard, lots of templates. You can do anything you darn well want to. And for the most part, it's free. Infographics, I use it all the time. Again, you do not have to, but if you want to, I find it to be an incredibly useful tool. And is a tool that a lot of businesses actually use these days. Let's see. Yep. Back to this, and I think that's it. So if you want to read more and more thoroughly about these feature articles and how they work, here's the article. This is a link, right? Here's the structure. Here's what a nut graph is. Here's the assignment, which is to go back to the through the box article and analyze it. Write these answers, upload it into the drive, into this folder, or your own folder. Either one is fine. And then by next Wednesday night, just write a draft of your hook and nut graph, knowing that they will very likely change. Okay, so that is all for this week. Message me on Slack, send me an email, let me know what's going on, and I will I will leave more comments on the proposals and the annotations as I go through the weekend. Now that my technology seems to be working again, fingers crossed. So that said, everybody have a lovely weekend, and I will see you next week.